All right, 3, 2, 1, and away we go. All right, so Tahlia, we were just talking about the poster. Mm-hmm. What do you think, mate?
It is sick. I have just been sharing it. Like, I know that's me. That's me. It looks amazing. I've never seen. I mean, for indie stuff, like everyone has said, you know, a lot of indie stuff looks like clip art. Yeah. You know,
like it's and like someone like me put it together,
or me, but it just looks.
Well, yeah,
sickening.
So that goes down to our the editor, DOP, graphic designer, photographer extraordinaire, Luke.
The genius himself.
So it's like it comes down to the lighting. It comes down to like not a lot of people know the mathematics that go into the graphic design. I think it's it really is underrated.
Yeah.
But you notice the difference when it's done well. And So the worst thing I have to do is listen to him complain about how many hours he spent on it, and I was like, we know it's going to be worth it. So I was like, yes, I know, that's why I'm doing it. So
yeah.
But
well done, Luke. Well done.
Yes. So what was your part in the Devil May Care trilogy?
I played Olivia Blessing.
Yes.
And
we can't reveal too much
I'm
about
like,
her either.
Don't want to. Yeah. What can I say? What can't I say? Yeah, Olivia Blessing, the mystery woman.
Why did you like this role that I wrote for you?
It was just well written and gritty, something I hadn't been able to sink my teeth into for a long time. I feel like before this came along, I was playing a lot of like Girl Next Door, you know, which is great.
Yep.
You know, you don't want to, you know, any work is good work, but to get something that sort of challenged you and pushes you.
Yeah, and it was a bit of an interesting ride for me as well, because I had to glorify someone while also making it like absolutely almost not redeemable in a way, but like, and that was the challenge with the writing and I guess the acting as well, because you had to make her redeemable. You had to make the audience connect with her in a way where it's like, this woman is just, she would tear someone apart, but she's had a bit of a rough trot of it. So.
That's it. We'll just present her as like a well-rounded 3D person. Mm-hmm. You know, we all have that yin and yang, the badness and the, you know, the good. The good and the bad and all of that. Present her as like this whole complete entity, really, you know?
Well, you've basically just come down to the crux of what the entire trilogy is about. It's essentially about the chaos and the order that we have and finding the way through. Like, and when it comes to the yin and the yang, there's always a chaos and the order and the chaos.
Exactly.
But the real translation of the yin and yang is like the line in the between. That's the way, and it's very thin. It's very, very, very hard to maintain that. And I think for the better or for worse, like definitely for worse, all the characters make the wrong decisions.
Yeah.
And it all backfires in the end, and it just goes
beautifully backfires.
Yes. Oh man, the ending is just like,
I haven't seen it yet, so like I
can G it up.
I'm going off my memory from the script, but it's gonna be.
And you haven't seen it with the VFX as well. So
I haven't seen anything.
Oh man. Like when Luke and I was putting the trailer together and I gave the rough draft to Luke and I was like, what do you think? He's like, yeah man, I get what you're going for. We just need more violence. I'm like, I can do that.
Amp it up a bit.
Anyway,
so did you?
Tahlia, how did you get started in this business and like why did you get started?
So very difficult question to answer, but basically I feel like I was just born an actor.
Yes.
That's just who I was from the very beginning. When I sort of started taking that more seriously, I guess it was in high school. Probably it was where I found that this is just what I, you know, really love to do, and that there is a science to it and, you know, method to it. It's not just who I am. It's like I can work on these things and perfect this, and I can get better at this and learn from this. So, yeah, exactly. It wasn't just this airy-fairy, this is just my personality, you know. And then it was probably after I took a gap year because I still didn't know what I wanted to do, because acting, like it wasn't a career path. It was just in me. It was just a personality thing. And so I was kind of blinded to it, really, that people could pursue this and chase this and better themselves in this and actually do it and make money from it. Potentially someday.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Oh no, it's like that's the thing I've found. Like when you're a creative or the one doing the creating, like you can actually. There are numerous ways to make money if you.
Well, nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and anyone can film anything at all. But one thing that it's interesting, the comparison that you were able to do in drama in high school, because I went to an all boys school, and so you can imagine the stigma that's attached to dramas. But when someone, but then the proof is in the pudding. Like you would know when. not just in school, but then later in life when people say, why don't you get a real job and all that jazz? And then it's like, well, yeah, I could do that, but it's like, I haven't seen anything. You've been going for years. Like I personally haven't been like getting so much of this because I don't know, maybe I just put up that a bit of a vibe. It's like I literally give zero fucks about what you think about what I do.
That's
like,
it, because they don't understand it either, Jono. Like they don't, unless you're in the industry and you're grinding it out day in, day out, you don't get it.
Yes.
And I have plenty of people in my life, even some of my best girlfriends, their partners don't get it.
Yes.
You know?
You've told me in the past that yours doesn't really get it. And he's like, and I thought that was a really funny contradiction.
He does more than other people, I think. And the longer that you're together, the more. Yeah. He was with me the other day. I got a rejection email from this short film that I really, really wanted.
Yeah.
And I think in those moments where it's, it's great to see that you're working and, you're chasing your dreams and all of that. But in the moments where it's not working.
Yes.
And he can see the heartbreak and that, the passion is there. That's when you start to get it. And so the longer you're around that.
Exactly.
I think the easier it is to relate.
And then if they're the right partner, it's like anything that you're pushing towards. And I like to think of it in terms as like you've got to do your uni degree. You've got to do your time in the trenches. You've got to do the student. You've got to do the student films. You've got to do the hard yards. And you've got to, because the very hard lesson that I realized going in, but had to learn, was the fact that I probably suck. I'm probably a lot worse than I think I am. Yeah. And then you start to see your stuff. Like, and imagine for actors that it's a lot more of a prolonged process, so you can't learn. But hopefully you have in the medium time, you're like, I definitely didn't do that right. I know I didn't. So
every short film that comes out, every scene that comes out, it can take a long time. That is the hard part, is the waiting in the middle, in the meantime. But everything that comes out, I don't know, you go, oh, why did I say that? You do, and you go, okay, what am I going to do next time to make that better? And there should have been more tension in my forehead there because I can see that I'm not thinking. And what prep could I have done that I know I didn't? Maybe I didn't learn my lines as early as I should have. Or
what are your best features? Like, what are your best assets? I guess I should say, like, not features because that sounds rather superficial, but like, what are you good at portraying on film? Like maybe you're a stunty, like Chris Bridgewater, who's coming in later. He's he's pushing for leading man material, and he can get there. But it's like I said honestly, man, I think doing stunt work and doing the sort of mid-level roles, that's where you're going to hone your craft. That's where you're going to do it. You're going to have a lot of consistent success, and you're going to continually build and grow until you're ready.
Yeah, that's it. You don't want to make it until you're ready. Yep. Like there's all this. This fire and drive inside you to just make it, just get there. I just want it so bad. Yep. But if you're not ready, you're going to crumble when you get there.
Because it's a skill. It's a muscle.
It's a muscle. Exactly. Yes. You've got to...
Like going to the gym, like reading books and like getting your education, this is exactly the same thing. Yeah. And if you want it, you're going to work hard enough. Yeah, simple as that. And so what does work like... And people's definition of work is totally different. Like if you're watching YouTube videos all day, or when you could be watching YouTube videos regarding your studying, doing what you do, which is like you isolate directors, you watch the films, that's your research, and you go picking apart the things. Like you asked me who are directors I should check out, so
that's it.
Coming from that, who are your favorite directors that you think people should check out for female-centered roles?
Denis Villeneuve.
Yes.
I love him so much. His most of his films, I think, have they center around strong female characters.
Yes. Emily Blunt in Sicario.
Just brilliant, just amazing. Amy Adams in Arrival.
Yes.
There are so many. You could pick pretty much any of his films, I think, and there's that theme there.
And then you got Blade Runner, and it's Blade Runner's a weird one. What do you think about that one?
The new one? Yeah, yes. I wasn't sure. I loved the film. I loved the cinematography. His cinematography is just disgustingly good.
Yeah, it's disgustingly
But in terms of female characters, I was kind of, because he'd been one of the directors that I'd studied a lot last year and really just fell in love with, and I thought, he's just...
Prisoners.
Yes, yeah, brilliant stuff. Love him. But when that came out, I was just like... I was unsure because I feel like every female character in that film was there to serve a man.
Yes.
I was like,
that was also there were echoes of that in the first one, in the first Blade Runner as well. And what I found really kind of ironic, like, ironic and coincidental, maybe, was the parallels that could be drawn between the first one, where the first one was not a box office success. Neither was the second one. Amazing cinematography. Same with the second one. Sound, everything. And it was, it's going to be a misunderstood film for a while. And I think those were sort of following the parallels where they were there to serve a man, but it was more about the fact it was also a man's journey. But I understand the trepidation, saying like, oh, just another stereotypical. But it's like, no, I don't think so. Yeah. It was a different way of saying it, and I don't think there was another way of bringing it home. So. Yeah,
when it's that particular story that you're doing, even though it's Villeneuve. I mean, his cinematography was really the highlight of that movie.
And the sound, but it's in the abstract way he goes about things. But I think on the next one, we can probably expect to see him going back to what he does really well. And he's one of those directors that I think is like up there with David Fincher, like, or Tarantino, like, how we're saying like, oh, come, dude, just come back to us. Come back to us. And like,
I'm so excited.
You're making great films still, and you're still in the zone, but you just had a little bit of a misstep. So come back to us. And we're so excited to see what you got next. But and like, for instance, Chris Nolan, like, I've often thought, and I had this thought pretty recently, where wouldn't it be interesting if Chris Nolan just did a basic 3-act structure film?
That would be
because he does his timeline things a lot. And it didn't hit the mark as well as it should have in Dunkirk, where it's like, that is a masterpiece of a film, but it's like, cool.
I mean, it was a different approach. It was more, what's the word? Vague, ambiguous. It wasn't like you didn't have this, for me anyway, I didn't have this moment where I was like, oh, I put it all together and that fits like that. And, where you have that moment with, I feel like, most of his films.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing that I thought was missing from Chris Nolan, from Dunkirk, was the fact, like, and this is definitely going towards my own biases. Like, I am definitely to blame for this one, because I was hoping I was going to see Chris Nolan's version of Saving Private Ryan. Okay. I really did, and I was like,
so you set yourself up for failure. And
for sure. That was my own fault.
That would be sick, though.
It would.
Like, if it was,
it would.
Yeah.
And there are some, like David Fincher doing a World War Z 2, and it's like, that's been pushed back again, but it's like, I don't care. I just want to see that happen, because he's like, Mr. 100 takes himself. Nope, do another one, 50 takes later, and then that's for a zombie film.
That's for me as an actor. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I hate when you go onto set and there's been all this build up for, you're in pre-production, you're doing your own research, you're in rehearsals and whatnot, and then bang, 3 takes and it's over. And we got it, moving on. And you're like, I have so much inside me that I just...
Oh, keep that shit up, man. Keep that shit up, because that's a lot of actors can fade away from that sort of thing. Like, I did get a little bit of hesitance on the amount of preparation that I wanted to do for this flick, but stuck to the guns, turned out perfectly, because like, even though I can't get you those 12, 15 takes that I really, really, really want to, whatever we need to do, like, and just frustrate everyone, just going like, fucking trust me. It was like, we're going to solve this with preparation. Like, indie flicks, you don't get much time, shit happens, so how do you fix it? Your preparation.
Yeah, for sure, exactly. You sort of balance it out in the pre-production.
You came to me really, really, and we broke down the monologue in like fine detail. Like, it wasn't you sort of, and really I was really, when you said that you wanted to come over and like, we just hash it out as well as we did. It was like, yes, holy, yes.
Yeah.
And then we did we had those communications that we actor and director should always have about doing the chemistry test and finding out where our similarities are, so we can be in this together. Like, we shared things that I'll never say to another soul, because it's but it's part of the trust. And like, you're not going to share those things, but what you will share is like, dude hasn't said anything about that. You can trust him. Yeah. Right? And you can trust that he's going to get you over the line. Yeah. So on that note, I want to take it over to a subject that we were discussing earlier in the preparation for this, where it's like nudity on set.
Right.
Is a big one and highly exploitable. Yes. And
at this, at any level,
man.
Any level, definitely. I think there are different risks involved with indie level and maybe studio level.
So what advice do you have for young actresses who are they're getting offered these good roles, but it requires them to cross that line? Like, it's definitely a line they have to cross at some point. They have to come to terms with it. Yeah. So if the role's right and if the director's got his head on straight, or his or her head on straight, what advice do you have for these young actresses who may not have heard before?
I think first and foremost, you got to trust your gut.
Yep.
You got to read the script, and if that script speaks to your soul,
Yep.
and it requires this, you need to,
Requires, that's a good word.
Well, yeah, because it's not going to be the same. And people make that excuse when they're, writing a script, it's got to have nudity just because that sells or, but this script required that so you could have, that connection between these two characters. I feel like it was necessary in this instance. And don't be afraid to discuss it with your director. And if they have got your best interests at heart and the film's best interests at heart,
they can justify it.
Not their own. They can justify it and they can talk you through it and make you feel as comfortable as you guys did. And we had a very closed set that day.
Yeah, it was me, the cameraman, Luke,
super skeleton.
Yep, and I think we didn't even have the boom because it was a bloody montage thing. So and I showed you the images as well. It's like, this is what we're going for. This is what we're trying to do.
Exactly.
And the funny thing was, like, I get sometimes you get asked, like, oh, what's in it? It's like, we've got this, this, and this. And as soon as you mention the nudity, like, in any way, people go, that must mean. I was like, no, it's fucking awkward. It's awkward as shit.
The tension in hair and makeup that day. Do you remember being out in that big room?
No, not really.
Well, you guys were in the room setting up mostly, but I'm with Connie getting my hair and makeup done, and there's everybody around, doing their things, but it was just dead quiet.
Yeah, right.
It was just dead quiet. I think because, we're shooting the sex scene today, everyone's like solemn and awkward, and it was interesting. But what's really important as well is the chemistry with your scene partner.
Yes.
And Guy and I had that from day one, and that again comes back to the rehearsal process and the pre-production and, the chemistry tests and all of that. You work on that comfort from the very beginning, and then once you're on set,
I must admit, I wanted to do that chemistry test once before we actually got a take, but we were under the pump, unfortunately.
We were under the pump,
But fortunately, like I said, the preparation solved everything. Yeah. And what I can definitely take from that is, like, you guys, you asked for some time alone just to sort things out, just beforehand. Right. And I want to say to everyone, never be afraid to ask for that. Never be afraid, because if you're in discomfort, if you're working with a crew member who's worth their salt, then you should be able to have that conversation.
Definitely.
No dramas.
Definitely.
No dramas.
I feel like in every intimate scene I've done, not just in DMC, but other short films and whatnot, you need to have that preparation with the actor. There's, I think, nothing worse than having your first kiss or your first intimate moment caught on camera when you're like figuring out each other's rhythms and whatnot. Yeah. So have that time alone to just sort of go, okay, this is us. There's no cameras. There's no one around. Let's just feel the vibe. Let's just get into it slowly. And then that translates on camera because you're comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And then that means that, if everyone's comfortable, then I've done my job properly and setting up, and then everyone's there to be they're hired for what they were supposed to do, and their personalities and how they interact with people more than like I said from the start with everyone. I gave them interviews. I do not tolerate egos on my set. If you bring an ego that I find unacceptable, you'll be reprimanded. But but if I can find a replacement, you're gone. Straight, like, I do not tolerate it, because it's one of those things where it's like we're in a world that's different. We don't exist, like, when we're on set doing things like we were just discussing, that's not normal.
No, it's not.
It's
normal. This whole other reality that people outside the industry just, I don't know, would not get, would not understand how it all works and why we do it. And it's a strange process we put ourselves through.
Yeah, but it's one of those ones where it's, I think, part of the, I don't want to say journey, but part of the fun, part of the excitement, and also the responsibilities, figuring out how to navigate it. Like you said, finding the way with the yin and the yang and all that business, and where you can get them. Where I like to refer it to. This isn't me, but the monster. Like there's a monster that I can be. As a creative, like, and that's one thing you said, there's something. There's a lot of there's a lot of creatives out there, like, from all walks of life, who could in some way take advantage, like, very subtly, of their position. But you have to be able to pull yourself back and just go, why am I actually doing this? And it's like, we had the option to show more in the editing.
What is necessary? What is too far?
Not to, because it's like it didn't go to the mystique of what was going on with Olivia's character. So she's a mystery. The whole bloody story in the second one's a mystery, because it sounds so fantastical that it's like, is it real?
Who knows?
Yeah, fucking make up your own mind,
Make
mate.
up your own mind, that's right.
Guys have a habit of talking shit, don't they? So when it comes to breaking down a role in particular, like this is one I'm going to spring on you, like breaking down a bad role. How do you do the bad roles? Because I've had bad jobs where it's like, holy shit, we scraped that one by the skin of our teeth.
I turn down a lot of stuff these days.
Yeah, but when
you're starting out and you want to take everything, is that what you mean? I feel like in the beginning, you're learning just as much as maybe the writers that you're working with. When I first started, I was working on student films and they're learning just as much as I am. Yep. We're in this together. And so you sort of take each other's strengths.
Yep.
And you're still figuring out your strengths. So you're probably going to end up with a lot of crap in your first show reel, maybe.
Yeah. It's like, oh, guys, got my new show reel coming up. And it's like, oh, that's so great. And inside they're like,
not so great. Anyway, we'll keep working on that for the rest of our lives. But
that's the best thing. But if you're honest about yourself, you can actually see the improvement.
Oh, absolutely.
So what was the point in your career that you decided that you're going to start turning down roles?
I think... it may have been in the last year or so. Yeah. I think maybe once I started working on features and the scripts that the projects you're going to be working on, they're taking up 3 to 6 months of your life. You need to believe in it. Yeah, well, 5 years is my longest running one at the moment.
Tell us about that one just quickly. So
that one's called Shards.
Yep. Whatever you can, sorry.
Yeah. So I worked on that with Connie, actually. That's when we first met.
Yep.
And we just had our trailer released in the last
at the Backyard Film Festival.
Yeah,
what's your character? Yeah, what's your character, man? Because that's a bit of a departure from what you would normally be perceived as.
Yeah, so I play a young, lovely lady called Alicia.
Yes.
And she's just the coolest character I've ever played, really. She's just badass, so she's a junkie and just crazy.
Yes.
And
I like
so
that
much fun
how
to play
you led with like badass and it's total fun. It's like she's a junkie. It's like
minor details.
You can just go spastic with those characters.
It was very cool, but we'll see what it turns out like because it was the first role in a feature I'd been cast in.
Oh, really?
Ended up being like the third one that we shot because we had so many delays and whatnot, as is always the way with first-time filmmakers. And you do what you can, you just make it work, you get through it. So 5 years later, we've got a trailer, and I think we'll be releasing this year. We'll see.
Beamish was in that one as well.
He was too, yeah. The tables were turned a little bit in that one. We had a lot of fun. I won't reveal how...
if we can get the description in the link in the description below, we'll just the bloody thing.
Yes.
We'll link people to whatever they can. So, but other than that, man, it's just like what. I don't really have too much I wanted to talk. I just want to talk about movies a bit more. So, what ones have you seen lately?
Yesterday, I think I watched 5 films yesterday.
Oh, okay. Everyone pay attention to that.
No, don't pay attention to this.
What she just said.
Do. So yesterday I watched Miss Congeniality.
Yep.
Cheaper by the Dozen.
Yep.
Little Giants.
Yep.
What did I watch? I watched A Quiet Place and Disaster Artist.
Oh.
So you take half the day of what you will. But that's the thing.
I love Disaster Artist. That movie kicked ass.
I loved it so much.
Have you seen The Room?
I haven't seen The Room, but I know enough about it. I do want to watch it now after seeing Disaster Artist. You got to see it. It's one of those ones like Terminator and Terminator 2, Aliens. It's like, it doesn't really matter. I'm seeing Aliens on the big screen on Monday.
I hate you so much because I'm working night shift.
Oh, no.
I can't. I'm working night shift because I was going to take Luke and everything. It was going to be brilliant.
Yeah.
Because I saw Terminator 2 on the big screen in 3D and it's just
amazing.
Blew my mind.
I went and saw Jaws played last week on the big screen.
Well, that's with Christian Fletcher too, isn't it?
So good.
That's with Christian Fletcher too.
That music, like coming over with the surround sound and everything, just so good. Just give me goosebumps.
It's like salsa shark.
That's it. You just dream of being in something that iconic.
Yeah, and that was as far as I know. That's the first dolly zoom that I've ever seen as well, like as a shot. But but anyways, getting back to Aliens, Terminator 2, like I know they're both James Cameron, but the dude can make sequels like nobody's business. So when people say, we're getting 3-4 Avatar sequels, like the guy's got the best track record in history about sequels. Like presumably they're just going to get better. And the reason why we've had to wait for them so long is he wants the technology to come out where you don't need 3D with the glasses. And it's like, do what you want, mate. I'm totally good. But what I was saying is like it's a really weird combination of sequel and prequel where you can see either one in either order.
Yeah,
and it changes and you won't miss a beat pretty much, and it changes the way you feel about it. So when you go see The Room, by the way, only tips, bring about 200 plastic spoons with you.
Okay.
And whenever people throw spoons at the screen,
really?
you throw spoons.
Okay.
And you have to see it with someone.
Okay.
It will not work. Like the more the better. Like if you see it, 3 is the general rule that I have.
I'm so excited.
Because it's one of those ones where you're like, you actually can't believe this is happening, and you want to talk to the person next to you, going,
"What?
There's a point. There's a point in the movie where it's like, I think it's about 20 minutes in, you're like, it's half sex scenes.
Yeah.
And they've done so many little throwbacks to the original movie, and it's like that one, Disaster Artist was made with love by people who got it and understood it and were very good at their job, and it went to a dark place very briefly as well. Like that was really cool, but the way they broke down is like, it broke down so much fan fiction, fan theories, and also just like the bit at the end where they mimicked the scenes.
I loved that.
Like that really happened.
Right on, yeah.
And it's like I get asked sometimes, like as someone who's seen it, like both of them a couple of times, and go like, and I'm trying to convince someone to come. And it's like, oh yeah, I bet they made it that way. It's like no, you don't understand. You have to see the movie. They tried to make the greatest movie ever made, and it turned into the biggest disaster of all time that is still selling out theaters.
How good is that?
Oh, God.
Yeah. Classic.
Where do you go from The Room though, James Franco, mate? You're doing really well.
He is. He was amazing in that.
But the little caveat on that is Tommy Wiseau, the guy who did The Room. Yeah. He wanted to be the next Joker, and I'm like, can we just let him do that?
That's right. I remember you telling me that.
I sent you a message, just like, how cool would this be?
That would be.
He's like Heath Ledger doing Heath Ledger's Joker, but without the acting.
Yes.
Like,
yes. And just being.
Yeah, I hit Chris about this.
Super authentic.
Yeah, I hit Chris up about this, and I was like, dude, you get this guy in makeup and just give him the lines, and just do like 10 takes. And he'll change it every time, and you just pick the one that they want. Yeah, you wouldn't need to give him any. Just like do it again, mate. This one's for us. Like, oh, sorry, the focus didn't work out. Yeah. It's like, and then he's doing. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, because he wants to be Heath Ledger. And I was like, just let the guy be Heath Ledger. That's just so cool.
Tommy Wiseau's version. Yeah.
Anyway, but so what's next for you, Tahlia? What's coming up? Because you're off to America soon.
Yeah, I'm off to America in September. So that trip is really just going to be. It's hard to plan because I want to leave a lot of room for spontaneity as well. So my agent's working very hard on setting up meetings.
Who's your agent?
Charmaine Gilchrist.
Love it.
Gilchrist Management. So yeah, the goal for this year really is to work on as many things as I can.
Yep.
But ultimately, I really want to secure US management, potentially for pilot season next year.
Yes.
Just don't know how this trip's going to go. Yeah. Really, the main goal is to immerse myself in the accent, to know my way around LA, to meet people, network, just live the life, really.
3 months of where it's like, oh, God, I can't believe I got to go on the bloody thing. That's like, oh, you never know who you might meet.
Well, exactly. I mean, audition when I can, take classes when I can, just be in the right place at the right time.
Well, also, you'll get more of a feeling of how the intensity is very, very different with when it comes to...
exactly. Just sort of dip my toes in and get a taste for it, really.
It's that big plunge that everyone's going to take where it's like, I know this is probably going to fucking not go the way I want it to.
You never know. I just feel like it's where I need to be. Yeah. It's just going to happen. I feel like I've pretty much exhausted Brisbane.
Oh, Brisbane's very easy.
Brisbane dry.
As far as a guy who has to look for shots around Brisbane, I feel like I've mostly done the same because I got music videos, so it's time to step it up.
True.
So what do you do when you want to step it up? Like when you're saying, I need to up the game because I feel like I need to.
I feel like the last time that happened and I sort of followed through with it was probably 2.5, 3 years ago when I said, okay, I'm making the conscious choice to move into features.
Yes.
So I was, getting pretty regular roles in short films, student productions, the occasional TVC, that sort of thing. And I went, okay, no, features is where I want to be. I'm setting the intention and it's going to happen. I don't know how, but these opportunities are just they're going to come to me. Yes. And they did. Yes. And so I feel like I said a lot about just setting the intention, putting it out there, and then sort of looking for any way. And you look for these opportunities like you would look for your keys.
Yes.
You know, they are there. They are there. Where are they? I've got to find them.
Well, the great thing is that you never know where a little caveat, like a little something is going to pop up where you're like, this was whatever it turned out to be, but there was that one thing that just happened, that one person that I met, and that led to this, and then
dude, that's perfect segue into how I was cast in DMC.
Yes.
Perfect.
Oh.
I love the story so much.
Me too.
So I was probably about 3 years ago. I was auditioning for one of my first features. I didn't get the role.
I haven't been working on DMC for 3 years. I just want to make that clear.
No. I was working on. I was auditioning for this role, and Angel was in the room, our wonderful producer.
Yep.
And I didn't end up getting that role, and I was sort of the runner-up, and sort of kept in contact, like, you know, the Facebook, Instagram, or, you know, you never know, we might work together in the future. And at that point, when you're disheartened and you've just been rejected, you really wanted that role, you go, okay, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But 3 years later, I posted a selfie on Instagram with my freshly dyed brown hair.
Yep.
And Angel saw that selfie.
Yep.
Commented, I think she tagged you. And we
were going through potentials for Olivia at that stage.
Yeah, potentials for Olivia.
There was another, I can't remember who was also in the running for it, but it was, you basically got the role essentially from a photo. A
selfie on Instagram. And she tagged you, and it was something like brunette with sass, ? Tahlia, email me, we may have a role for you. And within 2 weeks, I met you, and bang. That's kind of just how it happened. Through this missed opportunity 3 years ago has come full circle and paid off.
Yes.
This beautiful...
You got Olivia Blessing. So what a lovely place to leave it. So, mate, Tahlia, always a pleasure, mate. So.
Thanks, Jono.
Cheers.